They say things like that. All laugh. Master to Ram, now tell me why my arm was hurt. Stand up and deliver a lecture on that. Laughter. The Brahmos insist that God is formless. Suppose they do. It is enough to call on him with sincerity of heart. If the devotee is sincere, then God, who is the inner guide of all, will certainly reveal to the devotee his true nature. But it is not good to say that what we ourselves think of God is the only truth and what others think is false. That because we think God is formless, therefore he is formless and cannot have any form. That because we think of God as having form, therefore he has form and cannot be formless. Can a man really fathom God's nature? This kind of friction exists between the Vaishnavas and the Shaktas. The Vaishnava says, my Keshava is the only savior, whereas the Shakta insists, my Bhagavati is the only savior. Once I took Vaishnavacharan to Mathur Babu. Now, Vaishnavacharan was a very learned Vaishnava and an ardent devotee of his sect. Mathur, on the other hand, was a devotee of the Divine Mother. They were engaged in a friendly discussion when suddenly Vaishnavacharan said, Keshava is the only savior. That's the name of Krishna. No sooner did Mathur hear this than his face became red with anger and he blurted out, you rascal. All laughed. He was a Shakta, a worshipper of the Divine Mother. Wasn't it natural for him to say that? I gave Vaishnavacharan a nudge. I see people who talk about religion constantly quarreling with one another. Hindus, Muslims, Brahmos, Shaktas, Vaishnava, Shaivas, all quarrel with one another. They haven't the intelligence to understand that he who is called Krishna is also Shiva and the primal Shakti, and that it is he, again, who is called Jesus and Allah. There's only one Rama, and he has 1,000 names. Truth is one, it is called by various names. All people are seeking the same truth. The variance is due to climate, temperament, and name. A lake has many ghats. From one ghat, the Hindus take water in jars and call it jol. From another ghat, the Muslims take the water in leather bags and call it pani. From a third, the Christians take the same thing and call it water. All laugh. Suppose someone says this thing is not jol but pani, or not pani but water, and that it is water but jol. It would indeed be ridiculous. But this thing is at the root of the friction among sects, their misunderstandings and quarrels. That is why people injure and kill one another and shed blood in the name of religion. Why this is not good. Everyone is going toward God. They will all realize him if they have sincerity and longing of heart. To M. This is for you. All scriptures, the Vedas, the Puranas, the Tantras, seek him alone and no one else. Only that one Satchidananda. That which is called Satchidananda Brahman in the Vedas is called Satchidananda Shiva in the Tantra. Again, it is he alone who is called Satchidananda Krishna in the Puranas. The master was told that now and then Ram cooked his own food at home. Master to M. Do you too cook your own meals? M. No, sir. Master, you may try it. Take your meals with a little clarified butter, that's ghee, made from cow's milk. That will purify your body and mind. A long conversation ensued about Ram's household affairs. Ram's father was a devout Vaishnava and worshipped Krishna daily at home. He had married a second time when Ram was quite young. Both the father and the stepmother lived with Ram at Ram's house. But Ram was never happy with his stepmother, and this sometimes created a misunderstanding between himself and his father. They were talking about this when Ram said, my father has gone to the dogs. Master to the devotees, did you hear that? The father has gone to the dogs and the son is all right. Ram, there's no peace when my stepmother comes home. There's always some trouble or another. Our family is about to break up, so I say, let her live with her father. Girinder to Ram, why don't you too keep your wife at her father's home? All laugh. Master smiling, are husband and wife like earthen pots or jars, that you may keep the pot in one place and the lid in another? Shiva in one place and Shakti in another? Ram, we are quite happy. When she comes, the family is broken up. If such is the case, Master, then build them a separate home. That will be a different thing. You will defray their monthly expenses. How worthy of worship one's parents are. Rakal asked me if he could take the food left on his father's plate. What do you mean? I said. What have you become that you cannot? But it is also true that good people won't give anyone, even a dog, the food from their plates. Girindra, suppose one's parents are guilty of a terrible crime, a heinous sin. Master, what if they are? You must not renounce your mother even if she commits adultery. A woman guru of a certain family became corrupt. The members of that family said that they would like to make the son of their guru their spiritual guide. But I said, how is that? Will you accept the shoot and give up the yam? Suppose she is corrupt. Still you must regard her as your Ishta. There's a quote here. Though my guru visits the tavern, still to me he is the holy Nityananda. Are father and mother mere trifles? No spiritual practice will bear fruit unless they are pleased. Chaitanya was intoxicated with the love of God. Still, before taking to monastic life, for how many days did he try to persuade his mother to give him permission to become a monk? He said to her, Mother, don't worry, I shall visit you every now and then. To M, reproachfully, and let me say this to you. Your father and mother brought you up. You yourself are the father of several children, yet you have left home with your wife. You have cheated your parents. You have come away with your wife and children, and you feel that you have become a holy man. Your father doesn't need any money from you, otherwise I should have cried shame on you. Everybody in the room became grave and silent. Master, a man has certain debts to pay, his debt to the gods and the rishis, and his debts to his mother, father, and wife. He cannot achieve anything without paying the debts he owes to his parents. A man is indebted to his wife as well. Harish has renounced his wife and is living here. If he had left her unprovided for, then I should have called him an abominable wretch. After attaining knowledge, you will regard that very wife as the manifestation of the Divine Mother herself. It is written in the Chandi, the goddess dwells in all beings as the mother. It is she who has become your mother. All the women you see are only she, the Divine Mother. That is why I cannot rebuke even Brinde, the maidservant. There are people who spout verses from the scriptures and talk big, but their conduct is quite different. Ramprasanna is constantly busy procuring opium and milk for the Hatha yogi. He says that Manu enjoins it upon man to serve the sadhu, but his old mother hasn't enough to eat. She walks to the market to buy her own groceries. It makes me very angry. But here you have to consider another thing. When a man is intoxicated with the ecstatic love of God, then who is his father or his mother or his wife? His love of God is so intense that he has become mad with it. Then he has no duty to perform. He is free from all debts. What is this divine intoxication? In this state, a man forgets the world. He also forgets his own body, which is so dear to all. Chaitanya had this intoxication. He plunged into the ocean, not knowing that it was the ocean. He dashed himself again and again on the ground. He was not aware of hunger, of thirst, or of sleep. He was not at all conscious of any such thing as his body. All at once, Sri Ramakrishna exclaimed, "Ah, Chaitanya," and stood up. Master, to the devotees, Chaitanya means undivided consciousness. Vaishnavacharan used to say, Gauranga, that's another name for Chaitanya. Gauranga was like a bubble in the ocean of undivided consciousness. To the elder Gopal, do you intend to go on a pilgrimage now? Gopal, yes, sir. I should like to wander about a little. Ram to Gopal. He, meaning the master, says that one becomes a Kuti-chaka after becoming a Vahudaka. The sadhu that visits many holy places is called a Vahudaka. He whose craving for travel has been satiated and who sits down in one place is called a Kuti-chaka. He also tells us a parable. Once a bird sat on the mast of a ship. When the ship sailed through the mouth of the Ganges into the black waters of the ocean, the bird failed to notice the fact. When it finally became aware of the ocean, it left its mast and flew north in search of land. But it found no limit to the water and so returned. After resting a while, it flew south. There, too, it found no limit to the water. Panting for breath, the bird returned to the mast. Again, after resting a while, it flew east and then west. Finding no limit to the water in any direction, At last it settled down on the mast of the ship. Master to the elder Gopal, who later became Swami Advaitananda. As long as a man feels that God is there, he is ignorant, but he attains knowledge when he feels that God is here. A man wanted to smoke. He went to his neighbor's house to light his charcoal. It was the dead of night, and the household was asleep. After he had knocked a great deal, someone came down to open the door. At the sight of the man, he asked, "Hello, what's the matter?" The man replied, "Can't you guess? You know how fond I am of smoking. I've come here to light the charcoal." The neighbor said, "Ha ha, you're a fine man indeed. You took the trouble to come and do all this knocking at the door. Why, you have a lighted lantern in your hand." All laugh. What a man seeks is very near him. Still he wanders about from place to place. Ram. Sir, I now realize why a guru asks some of his disciples to visit the 4 principal holy places of the country. Once having wandered about, the disciple discovers that it is the same here as there. Then he returns to the guru. All this wandering is only to create faith in the guru's words. After this conversation had come to an end, Sri Ramakrishna extolled Ram's virtues. Master to the devotees. How many fine qualities Ram possesses. How many devotees he serves and looks after. To Ram. Adhar told me that you showed him great kindness. Adhar, a beloved household devotee of the Master, had recently arranged some religious music in his house. The Master and many devotees had been present, but Adhar had forgotten to invite Ram, who was a very proud man and complained about it to his friends. So Adhar had gone to Ram's house to express his regret for the mistake. Ram, it wasn't really Adhar's fault, Adhar's mistake. I've come to know that Rakhal is to blame. Rakhal was given charge, Master. You mustn't find fault with Rakhal. He's a mere child. Even now you could bring out mother's milk by squeezing his throat. Ram, sir, why should you speak that way? It was such an occasion. Master, interrupting. Adhar simply didn't remember to invite you. He's absent-minded. The other day he went with me to Jadu Malik's house. As we took leave, I said to him, "You haven't offered anything to the goddess in the chapel." "Sir," he said, "I didn't know one should." To Ram, suppose he didn't invite you to his house. Why such a fuss about going to a place where the name of the Lord was sung? One may go unasked to participate in religious music. One doesn't have to be invited. That is the end of that chapter. Any questions, suggestions, discussions? Anything? Nada? Okay. Then we will move on to Chapter 22, Advice to an Actor. Saturday, May 24th, 1884. Sri Ramakrishna was sitting on the small couch in his room. Rakhal, M., and several other devotees were present. The special worship of Kali had been performed in the temple the previous night. In connection with the worship, a theatrical performance of Vidya Sundar had been staged in the Nat Mandir. The Master had watched a part of it in that morning. The actors came to his room to pay their respects. The Master, in a happy mood, became engaged in a conversation with a fair-complexioned young man who had taken the part of Vidya and played his part very well. Master to the actor, your acting is very good. If a person excels in singing, music, dancing, or any other art, he can also quickly realize God, provided he strives sincerely. Just as you practice much in order to sing, dance, and play on instruments, so one should practice the art of fixing the mind on God. One should practice regularly such disciplines as worship, japa, and meditation. Are you married? Any children? Actor, yes, sir. I had a girl who died. Another child has been born. Master, a death and a birth, and all so quickly. You are so young. There is a saying, my husband died just after our marriage. There are so many nights for me to weep. You are no doubt realizing the nature of worldly happiness. The world is like a hog plum. The hog plum has only pit and skin, and after eating it, you suffer from colic. You are an actor in the theater, and that is fine. But it's a very painful profession. You are young now, so you have a full, round face. Afterwards, there will be hollows in your cheeks. Almost all actors become like that. They get hollow cheeks and big bellies. Laughter. Why did I stay to watch your performance? I found the rhythm, the music, and the melody all correct. You see, in Indian performances like this, the words are always accompanied by music. Music and often dance. Actor, sir, what is the difference between lust and desire? Master, lust is like the root of the tree, and desires are branches and twigs. One cannot completely get rid of the 6 passions, lust, anger, greed, and the like. Therefore, one should direct them to God. If you must have desire and greed, then you should desire love of God and be greedy to attain Him. If you must be conceited and egotistic, then feel conceited and egotistic, thinking that you are the servant of God, the child of God. A man cannot see God unless he gives his whole mind to Him. The mind is wasted on lust and greed. Take your own case. You have children and are occupied with the theater. The mind cannot be united with God on account of these different activities. As long as there is bhoga, which is enjoyment, there will be less of yoga. Furthermore, bhoga begets suffering. It is said in the Bhagavata that the Avadhuta chose a kite as one of his 24 gurus. It's a type of bird. A kite had a fish in its beak, so it was surrounded by 1,000 crows. Whichever way it flew with the fish, the crows pursued it, crying, caw, caw. When all of a sudden the fish dropped from its beak, the crows flew after the fish, leaving the kite alone. The fish is the object of enjoyment. The crows are worries and anxiety. Worries and anxiety are inevitable with enjoyment. No sooner does one give up enjoyment than one finds peace. What is more, money itself becomes a source of trouble. Brothers may live happily, but they get into trouble when the property is divided. Dogs lick one another's bodies. They're perfectly friendly. But when the householder throws them a little food, they get into a scrap. Come here now and then, pointing to Em and the others. They come here on Sundays and on other holidays. Actor, we have holidays for 3 months during the rainy and harvest seasons. It is our good fortune to be able to visit you. On our way to Dakshinesh, we heard of 2 persons, yourself and Gyanarnava. Master, be on friendly terms with your brothers. It looks well. You must have noticed in your theatrical performance that if 4 singers sing each in a different way, the play is spoiled. Actor, yes, sir. Many birds are trapped in a net. If they all fly together and drag the net in one direction, then many of them may be saved. But that doesn't happen if they try to fly in different directions. One also sees in a theatrical performance a person keeping a pitcher of water on his head and at the same time dancing about. Master, live in the world, but keep that pitcher steady on your head. That is to say, keep the mind firmly on God. I once said to the sepoys from the barracks, do your duty in the world, but remember that the pestle of death will sometimes smash your hand. Be alert about it. That's from those pestles that come down so you can break up patty. In Kamarbakur, I've seen the women of carpenter families making flattened rice in the husking machine. One woman kicks the end of the wooden beam, and the other woman, while nursing her baby, turns the patty in the mortar dug in the earth. The second woman is always alert lest the pestle of the machine should fall in her hand. With the other hand, she fries the soaked patty in a pan. Besides, she is talking with customers. She says, you owe us so much money. Please pay it before you go. Likewise, do your different duties in the world, fixing your mind on God. But practice is necessary, and one should also be alert. Only in this way can one safeguard both God and the world. Actor, sir, what is the proof that the soul is separate from the body? Master, proof? God can be seen. By practicing spiritual discipline, one sees God through His grace. The rishis directly realize the self. One cannot know the truth about God through science. Science gives us information only about things perceived by the senses. As, for instance, this material mixed with that material gives such and such a result, and that material mixed with this material gives such and such a result. For this reason, a man cannot comprehend spiritual things with his ordinary intelligence. To understand them, he must live in the company of holy persons. You learn to feel the pulse by living with a physician. Actor: Yes, sir. Now I understand. Master: You must practice tapasya, that's spiritual practices. Only then can you attain the goal. It will avail you nothing. Even if you learn the texts of the scriptures by heart, you cannot become intoxicated by saying merely siddhi over and over again. You must swallow some. That's basically him. One cannot explain the vision of God to others. One cannot explain conjugal happiness to a child 5 years old. Actor: How does one realize the Atman? Just then, Rakhal was about to take his meal in the master's room. He hesitated at the sight of so many people. During those days, the master looked on Rakhal as Gopala and himself as Mother Yashoda. Master to Rakhal: Why don't you eat? Let the people stand aside if you wish it. To a devotee: Give some ice for Rakhal. To Rakhal: Do you intend to go to Van Hooghly? Don't do so in the sun. Rakhal sat down for his meal. Sri Ramakrishna again spoke to the actor. Master: Why didn't all of you take your meal from the kitchen of the Kali temple? That would have been nice. Actor: All of us don't have the same opinion about food, so our food is cooked separately. All don't like to eat in the guest house. While Rakhal was taking his meal, the master and the devotees sat on the porch and continued their conversation. Master to the actor: You asked me about self-realization. Longing is the means of realizing the Atman. A man must strive to attain God with all his body, with all his mind, and with all his speech. Because of an excess of bile, one gets jaundice. Then one sees everything as yellow. One perceives no color but yellow. Among you actors, those who take only the roles of women acquire the nature of a woman. By thinking of woman, your ways and thoughts become womanly. Just so, by thinking day and night of God, one acquires the nature of God. This was the time that a lot of women generally didn't go on the stage, so men would often take the parts of women. The mind is like white linen just returned from the laundry. It takes the color you dip it in. Actor: But first it must be sent to the laundry. Master: Yes. First is the purification of the mind. Afterwards, if you direct the mind to the contemplation of God, it will be covered by God consciousness. Again, if you direct the mind to worldly duties, such as the acting of a play, it will be covered by worldliness. And this is actually a really good place to stop. There's a nice break here. So, any questions or discussion on anything? Any? Well, then, tomorrow, not only is Swami Medhananda speaking on our many selves, but equally of greater importance, I would say, is tomorrow begins the 10 days of Jaya Shri Durga chanting. This is the special time when we all do some extra japam or the extra chanting of Jaya Shri Durga for a certain number. Many people do it 1,000 per day, which takes about 20 minutes. You can do 500 if that's the thing, but we definitely ask people to do that, and if you want to do it, let us know, and we will sign you up. So it starts tomorrow, Sunday the 21st, and it will go to October 2nd, through October 2nd. So please take that up. Swami Swahananda was the one who started it because he had heard from a senior Swami, I believe it was Swami Pramashananda, that if you have 100,000 japa like this, that's equal to doing a Durga Puja. So since the time Swami Swahananda came here, he has strongly encouraged us all to do that Jaya Shri Durga during the 10 days of Durga Puja, because it actually starts tomorrow, Mahalaya, when Divine Mother Durga starts coming down from the mountain. So any takers, do let us know. And again, tomorrow we will have Swami Medhananda speaking, 11 a.m., Our Many Selves. Wednesday, there will be a reading on God, from God Live With Them. And I believe we're still on Swami Yogananda. And Saturday, there will be no gospel reading because a week from today, is Durga Puja beginning at 11 a.m. Please join us in person if you can't. Otherwise, if you just can't manage driving here all that way, then please join us it will be on YouTube and also on Zoom, I believe. Not on Zoom, just YouTube. So please join us that way. It's a great, grand event. It's our yearly big celebration here, and we'd love to see you all, anyone who can come. Okay. So we'll conclude with the chant. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu. Great to see you all. Thank you for coming. Thanks for joining us here. And enjoy the rest of the weekend, and hope you're here tomorrow for the lecture. So.